I have a sutta today that is somewhat of the motto here of the monks at SBS, and it shows the importance of being familiar with the suttas. Anguttara Book of Fours, Sutta 180, and it's called The Great References. It's a relatively long sutta, so I'll try to abbreviate it. So it starts with the Blessed One dwelling at Bhoganagara, at a place called the Ananda Shrine. And the Blessed One, as usual, addresses the monks, and he says, I will teach you the four great references. And the first great reference is, there's a monk who's dwelling around other monks, and this monk says, in the presence of the Blessed One, I heard this. In his presence, I learned this. And so, what the Buddha encourages is not to prove what this monk says or reject it, but to keep it in mind and remember it well. And then on a later occasion, to check in the discourses, and it also mentions the Vinaya here, to see if what this monk said is valid, if what he said is in line with the Buddha's teachings. But if it's not in line, if you've checked in the suttas and you don't see such a reference or nothing similar, then you should conclude this is not the word of the Blessed One, the Arahant, and the perfectly enlightened one. And it has been badly remembered, badly learned by this monk, and so you should discard it. But if you have checked, and it is there, if it is in line with what the Buddha says, then you should draw the conclusion that this is the word of the Blessed One, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one. Because the suttas are really all we have, the only record that we have from the Buddha. And so, the first great reference is in reference to a single monk. The second one is about dwelling in such a place where you're around an entire sangha of monks. A sangha that is filled with elder monks and prominent monks, maybe very senior monks. A sangha of Bhante Agachittas. And so the Buddha goes through the same thing. You hear something from a monk, you're not so sure about its validity, so again you should check in the discourses and seek them in the Vinaya. And if it's not there, then this Venerable's missed something, and so you should kind of discard what he said and leave it aside. But if it is in line, well, sadhu sadhu, he's done his homework. The third reference is in reference to several elder monks. I'm not sure how this is different from a sangha, but it's about several elder monks who are living in a community. And again, the same prescription is given. And the last great reference is about one singular elder monk. Is what he says found in the discourses at all? Is it seen in the Vinaya? And if so, sadhu sadhu. Okay, so this monk might paraphrase some of the Buddhist teachings on his own, might give a summary, and these words might differ from what you find in the suttas, but they're the same in meaning. He means the same thing. And so we shouldn't quarrel over this. This is quite good that he's able to maintain the meaning, even though the words are different. But if the meaning and the phrasing is different, then it's questionable. And it's one of the things I find quite rare and valuable about the community here, about Sasana Rakha, is that we have this intention to maintain and protect and preserve the Sasana. And so we take the suttas as our guide. So I would offer the encouragement to maybe yourself, or maybe you can do it with your family, to sit down, pick up one of the books, and just go through one sutta at a time. Anguttara Nikaya is a nice place to start because it's miscellaneous and it's not particularly grouped in order. So from one sutta to another, you might get different topics, and they're relatively short in the beginning. And I think it'd be a nice way to bond with one's family, or maybe for yourself to enrich your understanding of the Dhamma. Because it's only after having gone through all the suttas that one can say, okay, I know all that's there in the early texts, and you're able to square what you hear from other people, other monks, other lay teachers, other lay practitioners. So yeah, that's my short encouragement for today.